All right, welcome back, folks. It's been a while. I came back from GDQ. Foundations was gone. Pioneer Masters was gone. But I finally found something I'm really excited for on Arena. We're gonna play some historic Pauper. It only comes around like a few times a year, the Pauper and the Artisan. But I really like these formats. I think they're hidden gems. So we're gonna play some Skyfisher decks. I really like these grindy Skyfisher style decks. Kind of ported over from Paper Pauper, but not quite. I've got a mono white build and an Orzhov build. We're going to kind of play a handful of games with both and see how we do. The idea is to just grind the hell out of people. We've got 4 Skyfishers. When it enters, return a permanent you control. 2 mana, 2/3 flyer. We've also got 4 Aviary Mechanics as secondary Skyfishers, and then just a bunch of stuff to pick up and play again. Novice Inspectors, Thurban Inspectors, pretty straightforward. Helpful Hunter, draws more cards. I'm running 3 Dawnbringer Clerics, which seems kind of weird, but I think this card's pretty good. It has a fat butt to block and gain you some life against mono red. Can gain you 4 or 6 life with Skyfishers. Exiling a card from a graveyard is not nothing. There are some graveyard shenanigans, not a ton, but it's not nothing. And then destroying an enchantment. This deck, especially the mono white version, has a tough time beating the Boggles deck, the hexproof deck. So if you can destroy a couple of their good auras, you know, get an Ethereal Armor, get a Squire's Devotion or whatever's giving them lifelink or flying or whatever, that can be really good. And again, we can cast it, pick it up, cast it again. Otherwise, we kind of have the mini engine of Heliod's Pilgrim to find us our removal. I'm running 3 Planar Disruptions. I also have an Angelic Gift as a kind of utility target for Pilgrim. It's another card draw engine with the bounce effects, and it can get something through with flying. The one thing I find with these decks is that you put a bunch of dorks in play, and it's really hard to get through. So I'm really trying to go a little bit on the flying. We've got Airlift Chaplain 2, which finds essentially every other card in our deck. We've got Overseer, another like flying power, another enters the battlefield, draw a card effect. And then the last thing is Celebrity Fencer as kind of some beef. You're naturally just putting creatures into play, picking them up, playing them again. So if you just play this thing, it can get pretty huge. It does also give you, like, if you have Skyfisher, you can just play the Skyfisher for 2 mana, pick itself back up. And so you just have 2 mana, put a counter on Celebrity Fencer. I'm running a couple. We'll see how that goes. There are a ton of things you can do. There are so many lands, even with only commons. I have an Eagles of the North here. Again, you tend to have a ton of dorks in play. Sometimes you can go wide and hit them with an Eagles to end the game. Eagles is also just another flyer to push through damage, and then some Secluded Steps. There are so many things you can do with this deck. We're going to play best of 1, but there's just other removal you can play. You know, if you're going on Pilgrim, I was thinking about Guide Mother, again, to push more damage, play it as a spell, put it down, hit it for 1, pick it back up, jump something else. You can adjust the number of Thraben Inspectors you have. There's more, more of this effect. Just so much all the way down to like bigger stuff. If you want to go bigger, there's the, other enters the battlefield abilities, more kind of pseudo Skyfishers you can play. Just a ton of different stuff you can do. So we're going to give mono white a go, play a few games, and see how we do. And then we'll try the Orzhov version as well. We don't have any Skyfishers, but we're on the play, and we have some good cards. So that's kind of what we're going to do. Steadfast Unicorn. So this could be... Honestly, I don't know. It's obviously some kind of go-wide deck. I've played a fair bit so far. But I haven't seen a Steadfast Unicorn yet. It looks like they're kind of doing a similar thing to what we've got going on. Okay, we found another land. I think I'm just going to again, like, there's a lot of these games in Pauper where people are trying to grind you, and I think the flyers really are valuable. Hit a land for Fencer. That's pretty nice. We did have the Eagles. Yeah, we're just... This could be a long one. This could be a long one. I mean, I don't know what's up with Steadfast Unicorn. My deck is, like, designed to grind, and I have this ability in spades. So I'm going to hit. Or try to hit. And try to push some damage. I don't know if I mentioned the cycling lands. Just there are so many lands. There are other cycling lands. There are the monocolored decks don't have as many options, but there are deserts. There are pinging lands. You get a boon. Okay. Okay, we found a Skyfisher. What do we want to do with it? I think I just want to play a Spirited Companion and draw a card first. Another land. One, two, three, four, 5 power. I could pick up Thraben Inspector and play it again. And make Celebrity Fencer a 6/6 and hit. I don't know what they might have. That costs 5 mana. We'll go a little aggro. They might just have a removal spell. Yeah. It's another thing we kind of don't have. +1/+1 for 5 mana. Okie dokie. If this perpetually, it does give the backside +1/+0. Huh. Interesting. Priest. Unless they're running 4 Inspiring Overseas and then more priests, like another Fencer. I just think the flyers are really important. I don't have really a good play here. I don't want to ditch the Eagles to find an... Yeah, it wouldn't even do me any good. It looks like I'm just playing Fencer and then decide if I want to play Step or not. I've got the 2 clues to cycle, so I think I'm going to put the Step into play. And have the Eagles up, should I want it. Fencer still blocks pretty well, even with the Unicorn activation. I think I'm just going to take 3 here. I have Eagles, so I kind of want to keep my creatures in play, although things are just so jammed up right now. It's just another like card you could be playing. I really wanted to go cheap on what I had because of the Search Party Captains. Is that the name of the card? The 1/1 flyer. I could put a Planar Disruption on the Unicorn. I think I'm going to draw a card here. Pilgrim. So I could Pilgrim up the Aura to put the Celebrity Fencer in the air. I kind of rather do that as a surprise. See if they play a removal spell to kill the Skyfisher. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of their pump. There's not very many sweeper effects. Even like the -2/-2 effects are usually uncommon. There is a -1/-1 effect at common. Okay, so they have a jump effect here. Yeah, I mean, I think I want to just Pilgrim up. Pilgrim up, gift. Another Skyfisher, nice. Gift is kind of clunky because Celebrity Fencer is really the only big creature we have in our deck. There's not a lot of other great things to jump with Angelic Gift. But you can put it on stuff. It is a card draw engine if you don't have a companion or a hunter engine. As long as you have Skyfishers or Aviary Mechanics. Okay, I don't know. I haven't seen anything. Okie dokie. That was a weird one. I don't know if they were like playing to have me not block, but we'll take it. We didn't really get to do anything exciting there either. I feel like I'm not showing off the deck. We didn't do a bunch of sky fishing, bouncing, and things. But like I said, that's the exact kind of games I think you can get into. They had a pretty similar deck to what we have going on. Oh, I didn't mention Patriarch's Humiliation. I think this is really a good card, especially if you've got creatures in play. Just 1 mana. The creature loses abilities. Obviously, you have to have creatures in play, so there is a fail case with Humiliation, but I think this is a pretty powerful common that's unique to Arena, so you wouldn't have this in Pauper, because it does perpetually take away the abilities. Exile top part of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn. That's pretty standard stuff. Like, I'm not really ever going to not make that block. We could pick up the clue, but I don't think we're that far behind. I think I'd rather just crack the clue. I haven't seen mono red. You do see a lot of the Thermo Alchemist, Firebrand Archer style mono red decks where every spell pings you. This looks like a Raging Goblin deck. 1 mana, 1/1s with haste. At least nowadays they provide you some value. We could definitely use a big 1/4. Gain us some life. Hey! Yeah, I mean, now we have... Potentially we have Humiliation up, and it will get rid of, like, they will not exile a card. They will not get a 1/1. We can pick up Cleric and gain more life with Skyfisher. We have, you know, potentially 4 more life here. A card, a rat. There's so much less likely to be able to play the +3/+0 until end of turn when it dies, Manifest Dread. Okay. I mean, I feel like I just want to play Mechanic, pick up Cleric, play Cleric, gain some life. We're just really not under very much pressure anyway. I'm not a big fan of this particular version of Mono Red. Mono Red is reasonably prevalent in Pauper. Like I said, it's mostly the Thermo Alchemist, Firebrand Archer style decks. I've also seen some Kiln Fiend decks. If they have another turn Inside Out, I don't want to put the Cleric in front of the Lackey. This block isn't great either if they have turn Inside Out. I mean, we get a 1/1 out of this, right? Like, just seems like we're in good shape. Again, we're under very little pressure. I will say, because the format only comes around every so often, it has not been optimized at all on Arena. A lot of the cards that are big in Paper, Pauper, I think I'm just going to put Fencer in play here. They could have Lightning Strike or things like that, but we're not particularly close to being able to play Fencer and then trigger it in the same turn. And again, we're just not under very much pressure. And if it gets Lightning Struck, that's fine. You know, that's a burn spell that's not pointed at our face. But to finish my thought, yeah, you kind of see a ton of different stuff. Like, a bunch of different builds of Mono Red. You know, like the white deck that looked kind of like what we were doing, but kind of a lot different. We're not going to give him the card here. We'll take the 1. So it's still just a really cool format, a really open format. And like you saw, my whole sideboard was filled with other cards that we could play in this deck. There's Orzhov Skyfisher. There's, you know, Boros Skyfisher. Experimental Synthesizer is a very powerful card. Yeah, we didn't even have to do much. I'm not really impressed with their particular version of Mono Red. I'll play a couple more. Hopefully we get... We were doing our thing there. Like I said, Dawnbringer is quite good against aggro. But there are a handful of very, very cool decks. Like the Madness deck is really cool. I think the Skyfisher decks are really cool. The 4-mana Eldrazi from Modern Horizons 3 is very, very powerful. And kind of... Thornwood Falls. I have no idea. I have not seen a blue-green deck. It could be the Boggles deck. It could be the Hexproof deck. That deck kind of normally is green-white, but could span 3 colors. Blue could give flying. Okay, I do not know what's happening. I don't really want to play Cleric here. If they are a Boggles deck, just bombing their enchantments is going to be way more valuable than gaining 2 life. Nice thing about Inspector is it gives us a thing to do with our mana on 2 by drawing a card. Again, we're not an aggro deck, so getting down Skyfisher and picking up the clue I don't think is where we want to be. I think we just want the cards. We'll try and figure out Snow-Covered Mountain. There are snow-covered dual lands as well. Like I said, there's just a lot going on in the format. It's really fun. Oh, they're Chatterstorm. Okay, I see. Yeah, this is not... a great matchup for us. Planar Disruption is not particularly good against their, like, Goblin Electromancer type cards. So we're in a little trouble. Hopefully they're able to go off and you can kind of see how it works. First day of class and Chatterstorm, and they need the Electromancers and Anarchomancers to make their to make their spells cheaper, to really make things work. Because you need your Seize the Spoils and more your Unexpected Windfalls. There's kind of like 8 copies of this card. And if you can get them cheap enough, they generate mana. And then you can first day of class Chatterstorm. And yeah, the Orzhov version of this deck has kind of a different removal suite. So it works a lot better. Although that was a wonderful draw for us. And we can't really... The whole deck relies on the cost reduction effects to work, so... we definitely want to just get rid of it while we can. While they're tapped out. That's tough. We have 3 humiliations. We really have no pressure right now. This is pretty bad against another Fire Prophecy, but we'll use all our mana, and then we can really chain things off, and Celebrity Fencer can get out of control pretty fast. We should be a turn away from, like, being totally dead. Like, with just one Electromancer, I don't think they can get us. But I'm not super familiar with the deck. Discarded a first day of class. I'm assuming they have another. Okay, big score. See, if you can get the big scores... well, you need 3 cost reduction effects to have them generate mana. But even at 2 mana, they're at least mana neutral. Discarded a big score to a Windfall. I guess looking for another Electromancer, maybe? I think the deck is just... you know, if you have the Electromancers and stuff, Galvanic Relay. So they're just going for a big draw here. I saw an Anarchomancer there, so they're definitely getting closer. I can play Pilgrim. Pilgrim just doesn't find me much. Pilgrim and Inspector. I could find the Angelic Gift. I think I'm going to do it this way. I think it might be worth our while to just give up a Thraben Inspector and get in for 2 more damage. Maybe just to play the Cleric as well. having to cast the Anarchomancer, I mean, I don't think they can beat us here, and we should have him next turn, but I'm not sure. They're going to try, it looks like. I would need a land to play Pilgrim plus to get Fencer in the air, which still isn't lethal. Yeah, we might be in a pickle. They're not going to make that many squirrels, only a handful of squirrels, but a handful of squirrels still pretty good. They don't have green. Yeah, okay. 6 squirrels. 6 2/2s with haste. Seven more 2/2s with haste. We can let 10 creatures through. They attacked with everything, really? Yeah, we're not going to get there, are we? They must have done the math. Cool, cool. They definitely got us. They worked hard. That is a tough matchup, I'll say. Alright, on that note then, we're going to try the Orzhov version. We do switch up our removal a little bit. We still have the Humiliations, but we drop the Heliod's Pilgrim and the Auras. We get Final Flourish. I think it's just a nice, cheap removal and can kill bigger things. Tithing Blade. Being able to just play Tithing Blade and pick up Tithing Blade can get you there even against the hexproof decks. And then we have Fourth Bridge Prowler as a 1-drop. This is kind of like my pet card. It kills Llanowar Elves and Elvish Mystics. All the red, if they're on the Firebrand Archers, it can pick off a Firebrand Archer. All the other cheap white creatures, Hunters, you can get some value. You can, if you have 4 mana, play a Fourth Bridge Prowler, pick it up with a Skyfisher, and kill a 2 toughness creature too. And then I have Dunland Crerbane. Again, want to get a little flying power. It's another way, like playing a Crerbane, making a 2/2 orc, picking it up, replaying it can make a 4/4. So it's another way to make a little bit of beef. And then the rest of the stuff is kind of just the same Skyfisher type stuff. Again, like I said, there's a bunch of different ways. There's Burglar Rats. Deadly Dispute is another card where you can try and get some value, but I'm trying to just play mostly creatures. There's like the red Fourth Bridge Prowler and Forge Devil. Experimental Synthesizer is powerful. Omen of the Forge, another like repeatable removal effect. So there's just like so much you can do with kind of the Skyfisher base. I think it's really a fun thing to play around with. I do think the Orzhov version, in my experience, has felt a little better than Mono White. I think Boros would be good too. There are a lot of lands, but I am a little... Okay, that's a mulligan. I am a little hesitant to go 3 colors. That seems a little too ambitious for me. There's no, like... There's Evolving Wilds type fetches. There are the 3-color lands. I think I'm going to ditch an Inspector. We have Tap Land and then Hunter on 2. I could go Tap Land plus Inspector and Fourth Bridge Prowler on 2 if I wanted to do that. Maybe I just ditch a land. It's greedy, but I have Cat, I have Thraben Inspector. Okay, we're 100 miles away from scrying with Silver Quill. Perfect. I knew there'd be a land on top. I'm going to play the tap land here and have the 4th Bridge Prowler available. I can always just play the Hunter anyway. Okay, so this is like, there is a artifact deck floating around, I think. There's the black-red, like, cranial plating type card that only pumps power. Obviously, Ichor Wellspring with stuff like Deadly Dispute is pretty good. There is a cycle of tapped indestructible artifact lands as well. I'm going to keep my cheap cards for after Fencer, use all my mana, keep getting value. We definitely can outvalue this deck. Like, even if they Deadly Dispute the Wellspring, that's fine. You know, they're going to draw 3. We actually have a 2-power flyer, so no pressure. And then we just need some timely removal spells to kind of get rid of their big stuff. Maybe they have 2 Tithing Blades? Yeah. Turn up to 2 target creature cards. Yeah, so I feel like they're definitely building to the cranial plating type card. They just played 2 Tithing Blades. They could have other removal. They could have Voltage Surge, things like that. I'm going to play the 4th Bridge Prowler is good here because, again, the cranial plating doesn't pump toughness. So it makes a 1 toughness germ that we can just immediately get rid of. Okay, they're still on the grind. They have not found... They also play Vault Scourge, which has 1 toughness. They've got another Deadly Dispute. Sure, sure. They're grinding pretty hard. Blood Fountain seems... I mean, 1 mana make 2 artifacts is fine, but not looking particularly impressive right now. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have some big germs with their cranial plating. That much is true. I'm just going to play my cards and slam and jam. I should have played Overseer first. And checked what I drew. We have a lot of removal. I don't really see how things go wrong here, given the removal that we have and what I've seen out of this deck in the past. But they have a lot of cards in their hand and a lot of mana. They're still just kind of spinning their wheels. Ginger Brute. Okay. Draw 2 cards and create a map. Okay. Mirror Enforcer. Yep. Lose 1 life. I'll take that. They got there. They did their thing. The Mirror Enforcers are big. We could play Dawnbringer. I think I'd rather eat the... Mirror Enforcers. And pumping the Fencer. See what they do here. That seems pretty obvious. Maybe playing the Cleric would have been better. But now we get to eat the Mirror Enforcer that still has affinity. The other Enforcer loses affinity here. So even if they pick it up, they gotta pay 7 mana to cast it. Cranial Ram, that's the card. Yeah, they could flip a Tithing Blade. I don't think that's really gonna... That just taps them out. Another Blood Fountain, okay. Germ getting bigger, Germ getting bigger. Okay, they can't cast either of those. Remove their blocker. That's it. I think this deck is cool. Mirror Enforcer is a good payoff. I think Vault Scourge is pretty good. Vault Scourge with Cranial Ram. Obviously, huge lifelinking threat. Cranial Ram not pumping toughness is... makes it much less good than Cranial Plating. But we've seen, you know, we played 4 games now. We've seen 4 different decks. Like I said, I have so much fun. I think this is like a hidden gem of a format. I'm going to try and get this video posted quickly. So if you happen to see this video, the 4 of you that see this video shortly after it comes out, you might still have some time to jump on and play some. And I'm going to record a handful of these. I'm really excited about some of the other decks. The Madness deck really is... I just got a beatdown with it earlier today, and I was pretty excited to play it. So that one will be coming soon, too. And then if you see the Historic Pauper or Artisan... Artisan I like even more because you get access to some really cool other uncommons. There's a handful of like combo decks. I like Oketra's Monument in this style of deck. Just these formats are so fun. If you get bored of Standard, if you're waiting for the new set to drop, so you can draft again. This is definitely a fun thing to play when they come up. They're going to save this thing? Okay. Not save it, but get use out of it. We could use like a Skyfisher to go with this Overseer to start drawing some cards. That's for sure. I don't want to take too much poison. I do want to be able to Humiliation, but I'm going to try to hit a land drop, I think. Yep. That sucks. I do want to Humiliation the Glider. Like, I don't want them jumping all their toxic creatures. Although this is weird. Maybe it doesn't really look like they're a toxic deck. I don't really know. It looks like there's some kind of black-white grindy deck. I don't really know what Incisor Glider does. They just hope to get corrupted and then pump all their dorks. They're kind of like a token deck. I'm not sure. Again, it's just another deck I haven't seen before. So I don't know what might happen. Obviously, they're trying to take advantage of these type of effects to grind with. Get rid of Dawnbringer. Okay. Yeah, them drawing a card sucks. That's for sure. They just played the devotion. I'm gonna do this. It's a little greedy. I don't really have to, do I? I get in for 3 damage if I do it, but I don't use my mana. I could Skyfisher the Overseer and try to keep the chain going, keep drawing cards. They don't have anything to jump with right now anyway. We'll try and get the grind going. We need some resources. Transforms for 4 mana and 2 life. Okay. I don't want to get too greedy here. But, and they didn't activate the Ichor Drinker. So I don't know what they might have. But we're going to try to just keep grinding, try and get some value, see what they do. If they want to pay 2 life and 4 mana to flip this, and we can try to blow them out for whatever that's worth. +2/+2. It might be worth it to just sacrifice a 4th Bridge Prowler to play around Devotion. I could have also just Humiliationed it. I guess we didn't need to play around anything. They only had 1 card. It was just weird that they didn't do this last turn, right? That was kind of my hesitation. Boy, I'd really like to draw cards rather than do this way, but Patriarch's Humiliation is so powerful. Aggressive scoop, I would say. From what I've seen so far, I think the Skyfisher style decks are pretty good. Again, Skyfisher is kind of a port directly from Paper Pauper, although Historic Pauper doesn't have any like Monarch or Initiative or anything really good like that. Red seems good. The Eldrazi deck seem good. The Madness deck seems very good. I saw like a Graveyard deck with Writhing Necromass and a handful of other things. Slime Against Humanity is pretty popular. I do not think it's very good. Life Gain is also mildly popular. I do not think it's very good. There's just not enough life gain payoffs. There's like the Unicorn, and that's about it. So if you just kill their unicorns, they're pretty anemic. They'll have 30 life, but you just grind them down eventually if you just kill their 4 useful threats. Life gain's a little bit different in Artisan. You get some more payoffs. It could be that Orzhov life gain is the way to go. There was kind of a whole set where one of the Orzhov sub-theme was life gain. I could kind of Skyfisher plus 4th Bridge next turn. I don't know if it's really necessary. I could also just do this. Some more utility out of Dawnbringer. The Eldrazi deck does sometimes play Nyxborn Hydra, so that's another reason. There's not a ton of enchantments, though, otherwise. Okay, apparently this deck is just... we get in for one either way, so I guess it doesn't matter. We're having a little too much fun with Dawnbringer Cleric. I definitely should have Fourth Bridge Prowlered that and played a Helpful Hunter. But we got our 2-power flyer in play now, so... I got a little excited about Dawnbringer Cleric being good. Shit happens. I don't know what they've got going on here. I don't think they're missing a color. They have a lot of utility lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still have another Skyfisher effect if they play another enchantment. So I'm just going to get stuff into play. I also have Eagles off another land to get in for a pretty big hit. I really don't know what that was. We're going to play one more game, though, after that. And this should be the last one. Hopefully we'll get a good one here. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I like this format a lot. It is a little tricky because the competition is wildly varied. But I've still had a ton of fun. Highly recommend it. We'll see what Nuxman has for us. It could be an Eldrazi deck. It could be... Tithing Blade is awesome. It could be the Chatterstorm deck again. Shock my Helpful Hunter. That's a legal Magic play you can make. Can't imagine getting very far on plays like that, but... Scorch Mark. Are they some type of... Okay, I'm going to leave these in as representative of the experience. If you start getting these, I apologize. I still endorse the format. I've had fun. I've had fun and meaningful games. You saw us get wailed on by Chatterstorm. Weird stuff does happen on occasion. So we'll give it one more go. We've got Hunters. We've got... card draw. We could be up against the Artifact deck again. That would be fine. There's also the Geothermal. I don't know what it is. It destroys a land and you search for a land. Okay, it's Artifacts again. We'll see if we can do as well as we did last time. We didn't see Kuldotha Rebirth out of them last time. Thraben Inspector is pretty good against Rebirth. But then I kind of don't use my mana that well. If I draw Plains... We don't have any of our removal to deal with Cranial Ram shenanigans, which isn't great. And blue. Okay. They have another one? They have a Ginger Brute. Okay. I think I want Overseer. I think I want to find various removal spells. I definitely need something to take care of the Ginger Brute, or else I'm just going to kind of be dead. I don't have any hasters that can block. I think Refurbished Familiar also is a very good card. Another Modern Horizons 3 card. This is another pretty good reason to be in this deck. It's like Affinity, Flying, Burglar Rat, and if they have no cards in hand, you draw. Like, pretty powerful card, I think, for this format. Okay, I'm going to play one more game until I actually just complete a game. I don't know what the hell is going on. I may or may not cut those, or I might again just give you the down and dirty of what the format looks like. I'm not sure what was going on. I've never had trouble finding an opponent, so you can snap games off pretty fast. It's got that going for it. Okay. After those two, whether they're in the video or not, hopefully we can get a good game going. We've got another perfectly serviceable hand looking good. Really, we only need one Tithing Blade with our Skyfisher plan, but try and see what they've got going on. We've got Tithing Blade on 2. We've got Hunter on 2. This could just be Chatterstorm again. Yep. Okay. I mean, we're just going to pretty easily be able to keep these Anarchomancers in check, so they're going to have a pretty tough time this game, I think. We do need to hit our land drops to keep adding pressure, but they missed a land drop, so I think I'm just going to Tithing Blade again. I don't want to give them a turn with an extra mana. We need to hit our land drops too, but well, they're going to get a turn with extra mana regardless. I could Skyfisher, pick up a land and play it and get an extra mana that way, but if I just Hunter and find a land, the problem is if I Hunter and don't find a land. And it was a Plains, huh? I don't have anything. I could have cracked a clue, but I'm gonna kind of show my hand by picking up the Tithing Blade and put some pressure on the board. Okay, they've got to hit a land here now. Unless they're... Okay, they did. They could have really been skimping on lands. I don't know. I don't know what their deck looks like, but... Fire Prophecy. Okay, so they're going to be set. We still just have endless removal for the Electromancers, and they really can't get anywhere without them. They do have 8 copies, but they kind of need 2 at least to go off. And I think this is kind of why the black version of the deck is better. You just have... kind of endless removal. We could hold up. I don't think they can... Famous last words. I don't think they can, like, deploy... Even with 6 mana, I don't think they can deploy a Narcomancers and kill me. I think that would be pretty tough. But it's possible. I should have kept up the humiliation. I might die. They go down mana every big score, though, without another... Yeah, I think without a doubt I should have kept up humiliation. Okay, they didn't find another. Alright. We had our hiccups. I just really... Oh, here's the spoilers on what videos I might be putting out. We'll see. I really like the format. I think the black version is better, but you can just go, you know, do your own thing. Customize it however you want. It's just a lot of fun. I think Skyfisher, this style of deck, really the grind 'em up deck. If you've watched some of my draft videos, this is the kind of deck that speaks to me. Get on here. If there's still time left in the midweek, play some Historic Pauper. If you watch this video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hit any and all buttons you want to hit down there. Leave a comment. Let me know if you play Pauper, what your deck of choice is. It's really hard. Like, there's not a ton of repositories for where decks are. So if you have a sick deck, share it with me, please. I would like to try it the next time the Pauper comes around. Otherwise, be excellent to each other out there, and I'll see you in the next one.